Today, I'm gonna show you our $1 million equipment expansion. I'm gonna talk about what we got, why we got it, and all the numbers behind it. Let's go. This year has been a massive season of growth for our company. And one of the hardest things to sustain that growth is scaling our equipment. Now, it's become more expensive than ever before to actually build our fleet because some of the companies we're competing with bought their first piece of equipment in 1970 and things were totally different. So it's certainly not easy, but it's possible. So today, I'm gonna share with you all 5 of our new additions, all the numbers behind them, and how everything fits within our fleet, how we're making it all work together. Starting with this. This is our Cat 926M. It's going to be the largest and most expensive piece of equipment in our fleet so far. And it's going to allow us to take a step in a much larger direction. We got it fully equipped with a brand new live edge snow wing, which also allows us to clean parking lots much faster. So the faster we do things, the more money we make, the larger projects we can take on, the more we can go after that bigger customer. This machine is gonna add over 1 million square feet of capacity to our overall operation. In a single night with this piece of equipment, you can clean over 1.2 million square feet of pavement, which is twice as much as our second largest piece of equipment. Now, we specifically got this piece of equipment to service our largest customer. And with a customer like that, we always make sure that we sign a multi-year deal, because when you're pulling a trigger on something like this, you want to make sure that you have the revenue and the numbers behind it, not just for the first year, but for multiple years to come. So before making this buying decision, we made sure to sign a 3-year contract with the customer, and we had guaranteed money coming in to make the payments for this piece of equipment. So what's the process of buying a piece of equipment like this? Well, it's not as simple as just placing an order when you need it. In order to get this equipment just the way that we wanted it, we had to order it back in June, in the summertime, which means that we already have to know exactly what our capacity is gonna be months and months in advance for the equipment to arrive on time for our winter season. So planning and talking to customers early and knowing where we're gonna be is critical. We made a deal in June, we knew where we were gonna be and what we needed. We made a deal on this equipment and it just arrived, ready for our winter season to start. Now let's talk numbers. Now, this is a $300,000 piece of equipment, and we chose to lease it and balance those payments over the next 5 years. It's a large payment, so we also wanted to structure it in a way where we only pay for it for the 7-month winter season, where it's actually working and generating that revenue and that cash flow. And then in the 5-month off season, we don't make those payments. It also means that we're leasing this equipment down to $1. So at the end, we pay $1 and we own that piece of equipment. So we can write off that entire payment every single month. On the flip side, this is going to be able to generate at least $300,000 worth of revenue every single year in direct, and more than that in indirect revenue of being able to get us a foot in the door in larger opportunities. So over the next 5 years, our goal with this machine is for it to generate 2.5 to 3 times the ROI of the purchase price, not including any depreciation or anything like that. Overall, it's a great purchase if you can handle it, and if you have guaranteed work lined up for it, it's a no-brainer. Sitting in our brand new Cat 908. It's a smaller machine, more nimble, but still capable enough to do some of our larger projects. This is an upgraded machine. It's got the upgraded tires, a crisp new camera for backing up and getting in and out of places. It's got the heated seats. It's super spacious and comfortable in here because it's got the same cab as our larger machines. So what that means is our drivers, they're going to be a lot more comfortable in here. And that for us is a massive investment in the future of the company. The more comfortable our drivers feel, the better they're going to feel about sitting in here for longer hours, and the better they're going to be at their work. Now this fits seamlessly within our fleet, and it's actually going to sit as a dedicated piece of equipment on a larger site. What that means is the customer's paying us a premium to have this piece of equipment sit and be dedicated just to their property. So they're essentially paying us the rental for this piece of equipment. And when it snows, they're obviously getting a much faster service. What this allows us to do is offset our payments towards the client and generate extra revenue for this piece. Now we actually got this well in advance. This piece of equipment arrived before season even started in the summer. So it arrived, it sat all summer. We didn't make payments for it in the summertime, and we just started making payments for it now. But the planning for this was already discussed and negotiated with the client last year. Once we had the deal done, we immediately ordered it. We had the deposit from the client, and then it came and sat on this site as soon as it was ready. Now let's talk numbers. This piece of equipment ideally can service between 400 to 500,000 square feet of pavement. In this case, the site is only 300,000 square feet. So that extra pavement that we're not getting, we had to allocate as a premium on top of the price of the contract. So for us, as long as the piece of equipment is generating the revenue that it can generate, and we can offset that price towards a customer, then we'll allocate that piece and it'll be a dedicated equipment for that site. Now this is our 2019 F550 that we took through our Just for Snow transformation, and it's going to be ready to be part of our full cleaning fleet. So we kitted this truck with a Snowdog V-blade. All of our plows are exactly the same so that every single one fits on every single truck. It's also a short box, right? So that way it's easier to get around corners, and this is not carrying a crew, so just the two seats in the front is plenty for us. All right, we also put lights on in the back for visibility. It's got the strobe light up top, and of course, we have a brand new 4.5-ton salter on the back, so this truck will be doing the cleaning, the plowing, and the salting, all three of our operations in the wintertime. Now, we recently started switching to these larger trucks because they are really purpose-built for what they do. So it's big enough where it can take on some of our larger sites. And as far as the salting and the cleaning side of the operations, it is definitely going to outperform our smaller trucks 2-to-1. So instead of getting two small vehicles, we're just opting to size up our fleet. There's always two ways that we can go. We can either get more units that are really, really specialized, they're smaller, but they specifically do that one role, or we can size up and take on larger projects and size up our equipment and reduce the number of operators that we're using just by using bigger machines on a bigger fleet. Now, let's talk numbers. This truck is a 2019 and we got it used, but it's only got about 20,000 kilometers on it. So we got a great deal and we got a ton of value off the truck. In this case, it made sense. Usually on larger vehicles, the financing is going to be crazy. So the interest rate is going to be super high. So this truck we ended up buying all cash for that reason, because we didn't have a lot of financing vehicles to use in order to purchase it. On the flip side, it is a few years older and we got a great discount on the truck. The other thing is, with these larger trucks, they're going to stay in our fleet a lot longer. Most of the time we would turn over our other fleet in about 7-8 years. These larger trucks, because they're more heavy duty, better built, they're going to last about 10, 11, 12 years. So it makes more sense for us to get it a few years into its life. So in this case, 2019, we got it 3 years in, 4 years in, and then we'll use the truck for 7-8 years. And instead of making those payments with high interest, we just buy it outright cash, and then we get the discount up front. This is our brand new F-250 Super Duty, and it's the most versatile truck in our fleet. Now, if I was starting out and I had to pick just one, it would be this truck. It's capable, it's presentable, it's versatile, and it can pretty much do anything you want. Now, my first truck was a $5,000 F-150 with blown transmission, but I wish I had this when I was starting out. Now, we'll drive this truck as a manager and estimator vehicle when we need it. We'll drive it for light duty work in the wintertime. We'll drive it for heavy duty hauling in the summer. It will pretty much do whatever we need it to do all season long. Now, we did get it brand new, and there's a reason for that. And it's because our entire fleet generally is getting older. Now, on older trucks that you don't get brand new and you don't pay that higher ticket, you are gonna save a lot of money. But on the downside, when your entire fleet starts to get older, it's gonna mean more maintenance, it's gonna mean a bigger shop, it's gonna mean more mechanics, and it's gonna mean that it's not as presentable to your customer, and you're gonna deal with a lot of breakdowns and a lot of maintenance on that side of things. So overall, we looked at it and we said our fleet overall, we want it to be newer, we want to turn over those vehicles, and that's what we selected to get this brand new. Now let's talk numbers. This truck, we got it brand new and we're financing it over 7 years. Why? Because we're gonna use this truck heavily. And after 7 years, it's probably gonna be time to replace it with the amount of mileage it's gonna have and the amount of use it's gonna have. And it's still gonna have a lot of value. Also, we got it new, so we used a low interest rate. And I wanna use that low interest rate for as long as possible. And 7 years, they kept our rate the same. So we'll take the truck for 7 years, we'll make payments on it, low payments on it, and then after 7 years, when it's time to turn it over, we'll write off that entire amount, trade it in, and turn over the truck for a new one. Now the next truck we got is a brand new 2023 F-150. It's actually the first brand new Ford in our fleet. We got it all in white. Every single one of our trucks is in white because it's easier to brand. It's a gas model. It's also an XLT, so it's basic, but it has a couple of features that our guys can use when they're both driving it as a manager truck and our crews are driving it on the road. So it's versatile that way. It's a full crew cab with the long box, so again, it can serve both as a manager vehicle and for our crews. Now, this truck here, it doesn't have any crazy bells and whistles. It just has the cloth interior, but it's good enough to work and it's comfortable enough for our managers to drive when they're out there visiting customers. Now, this truck is gonna fit within our fleet in two forms. In the summertime, it's gonna be a manager vehicle for our account managers to drive around and check up on crews. They can put a few tools in the back and it's gonna be clean and presentable. In the wintertime, it's gonna serve as a crew truck for our walkway operations. So it's long and comfortable and it can be versatile enough to serve those two purposes for us this year. Now we have 3 managers who each manage a separate section of the city. As we add new contracts and new managers are needed, that's when we make the decision to buy a new truck. So that way they can go out, visit customers, and we can always have eyes out there on the operation. Now let's talk numbers. We chose to finance this truck for 60 months, and the reason we did that is because the financing rate at the time was just 1%. A lot of these new car dealers will offer great financing rates as an incentive to buy new trucks. And for us, that's great because we can balance that payment over 60 months, and we always choose to do skips so we don't pay for the months that we don't use the vehicle for, which is exactly how we structured this deal.